Welcome back to Divine Journey channel. Today, we're diving into a fascinating and often overlooked mystery of the Bible, the story of Moses' sons. You've probably heard of Moses, the legendary leader who parted the Red Sea and guided the Israelites out of Egypt. But have you ever stopped to wonder what happened to his sons, Gersam and Eleazar? Why aren't they as prominent as Aaron's descendants? Did their legacy simply fade away, or is there a deeper story waiting to be uncovered? In this video, we'll explore the hidden legacy of Moses' sons, piecing together intriguing clues from the Bible about their lives and roles. We'll discuss why they never rose to prominence and the surprising lessons their story holds about God's purpose, timing, and the importance of serving faithfully, even in the background. If you've ever felt overlooked or like your contributions go unseen, this episode is for you. Stick with us as we uncover the reasons why Gersam and Eleazar were not in the spotlight, how their legacy continues to impact us today, and the powerful lessons we can learn from their lives. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share it with others who enjoy discovering the hidden truths of Scripture. And don't forget to leave your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear from you as we grow together in wisdom. Now, let's dive in. The story begins, Moses in Midian. The story of Gersam and Eleazar starts during a pivotal chapter in Moses' life, his time in Midian. This period followed Moses' dramatic flight from Egypt after he killed an Egyptian taskmaster. Forced to leave his privileged life as the adopted son of Pharaoh's daughter, Moses found refuge in Midian, where he met and married Zipporah, the daughter of Jethro, a Midianite priest, Exodus 2 verses 15 to 22. It was during this time of exile and reflection that Moses and Zipporah had their two sons, Gersam and Eleazar. The Bible first introduces us to Gersam in Exodus 2 verse 22, where Moses says, "I have become a foreigner in a foreign land." Gersham's name reflects this feeling of displacement. It comes from the Hebrew root word meaning sojourner, or foreigner. For Moses, who had grown up in the grandeur of Pharaoh's palace, this season of life was a stark contrast. Once a prince of Egypt, he was now a fugitive tending sheep in an unfamiliar land. Gersham's name serves as a poignant reminder of Moses' emotional and spiritual journey during this period, a journey marked by a profound sense of being an outsider. Eleazar, a testament to God's faithfulness. The birth of Moses' second son, Eleazar, is mentioned later in Exodus 18 verses 3 to 4. While Gersham's name reflected Moses' sense of exile, Eleazar's name carried a message of hope and deliverance. Moses named him Eleazar, meaning, "My God is my help," saying, "My father's God was my helper, he saved me from the sword of Pharaoh." This name commemorates God's protection over Moses when he fled Egypt, a personal testimony to the faithfulness of God in Moses' life. Eleazar's name not only reflected Moses' gratitude but also stood as a testament to God's unwavering guidance and deliverance. It reminds us of the broader theme of God's faithfulness to his people, even in their most challenging times. Supporting roles in a monumental story. Unlike the sons of Aaron, who inherited leadership roles and played significant parts in the events of the Exodus, Gersam and Eleazar's roles were far more subtle. When God called Moses from the burning bush, Exodus 3, Gersam and Eleazar were still young. Moses, reluctant and feeling unworthy of the monumental task God had set before him, began his journey back to Egypt accompanied by his family, including Zipporah and their sons. Exodus 4 verse 20 recounts this moment, highlighting the presence of Gersam and Eleazar as Moses embarked on the mission that would define his legacy. While their story lacks the prominence of their fathers, Gersam and Eleazar were not forgotten. Their lives serve as a reminder that not all contributions to God's plan are made in the spotlight. Sometimes, the most significant lessons come from those who faithfully serve behind the scenes, trusting in God's timing and purpose. The hidden legacy. The story of Gersam and Eleazar may not dominate the pages of the Bible, but it holds powerful lessons for us today. It reminds us that God's plan often includes roles that may seem small or insignificant in the moment. Their story invites us to reflect on the importance of faithfulness, even when we feel unseen or uncelebrated. As we explore the lives of Moses' sons, we'll uncover how their legacy continues to speak to us, offering inspiration and encouragement for those of us who may feel like we're working in the background. Stay tuned as we delve deeper into this rarely told story and discover the surprising ways it can impact our understanding of God's plan for each of us. Continuing from where we left off, Moses' family played an essential role in his journey, even though their contributions were often overshadowed by the monumental events surrounding the Exodus. In Exodus 4 verse 20, we see Moses taking his wife and sons, placing them on a donkey, and beginning his return to Egypt. With the staff of God in hand, Moses set out on his divinely appointed mission. This moment demonstrates the balance Moses maintained between his calling and his responsibilities as a husband and father. The dramatic encounter on the journey. A pivotal and mysterious event involving Moses' family occurs in Exodus 4 verses 24 to 26. At a lodging place during their journey, the Lord confronted Moses and was about to kill him. In response, Zipporah, his wife, quickly circumcised their son and touched Moses' feet with the foreskin, declaring, "Surely you are a bridegroom of blood to me." Following this, the Lord left Moses alone. This dramatic episode underscores the importance of the covenant of circumcision, established with Abraham in Genesis 17 verses 10 to 14, as a sign of being set apart as God's people. Moses' failure to fulfill this covenantal requirement nearly cost him his life. Zipporah's swift action not only saved Moses but also realigned their family with God's commands, reaffirming their place within his covenant. This incident highlights a broader biblical principle: even God's chosen servants must adhere to his laws. It also reveals the unseen but vital role Moses' family played in supporting his divine mission. Why Gersam and Eleazar faded into the background. Despite their involvement in the early stages of Moses' journey, Gersam and Eleazar did not continue to play prominent roles in the unfolding story. Several factors might explain their relative obscurity. 1. Focus on Aaron's lineage. God appointed Aaron and his descendants as priests, granting them significant roles in Israel's spiritual leadership, Exodus 28 verses 1 to 3. Aaron's sons, Nadab, Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar, were directly involved in priestly duties, including the sacrificial system central to Israelite worship. This emphasis on Aaron's lineage may have been intentional to avoid confusion about the source of spiritual authority. By limiting the visibility of Moses' sons, the narrative ensures that the priestly line and its responsibilities remain clearly defined. 2. Moses' unique role. Moses' calling as a prophet, leader, and mediator between God and Israel was unparalleled. Deuteronomy 34 verses 10 to 12 emphasizes this, stating, "Since then, no prophet has risen in Israel like Moses, whom the Lord knew face to face, who did all those signs and wonders the Lord sent him to do in Egypt, to Pharaoh and to all his officials and to his whole land. For no one has ever shown the mighty power or performed the awesome deeds that Moses did in the sight of all Israel." Moses' leadership was distinct and not transferable. Unlike Aaron, whose priestly duties were inherited by his sons, Moses' role as mediator with God was unique to him, and his sons were not positioned to assume such responsibilities. 3. A possible return to Midian. There is evidence to suggest that Gersam and Eleazar, along with Zipporah, may have returned to Midian during the Exodus journey. In Exodus 18 verses 1-6, Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, brings Zipporah and Moses' sons back to meet him at Mount Sinai. This reunion implies a prior separation, during which Moses' family may not have been present for many of the significant events in Egypt and the wilderness. This separation could explain their absence from the Exodus narrative. Their hidden legacy. Although Gershom and Eleazar's roles are not prominently featured, their legacy did not fade entirely. 1 Chronicles 23 verses 14-17 provides a genealogy of Moses' descendants, noting that they were counted as part of the tribe of Levi. The sons of Moses, the man of God, were counted as part of the tribe of Levi. The sons of Moses, Gershom and Eleazar. The descendants of Gershom, Shubael was the first. The descendants of Eleazar, Rehabiah was the first. Eleazar had no other sons, but the sons of Rehabiah were very numerous. This passage highlights that Moses' sons continued to have a place within Israel's history, contributing to the tribe of Levi and its service to God. Their descendants carried forward the legacy of faithfulness and service, even if they did so outside the spotlight. A personal side to a monumental story. The story of Gershom and Eleazar reminds us that even in the grandest of narratives, there are quieter, more personal stories unfolding. Moses' journey was not only one of divine calling but also of balancing his mission with his responsibilities as a husband and father. His family's presence, though subtle, played a crucial role in supporting him along the way. As we continue to explore their story, we'll uncover the broader lessons it holds for us today, lessons about faithfulness, humility, and the importance of roles that often go unseen. Continuing from where we left off, Gershom and Eleazar's descendants played important, albeit understated, roles within the tribe of Levi. The Levites were chosen by God to serve and care for the tabernacle and, later, the temple. While Aaron's line was specifically designated for priesthood, the broader Levite community, including the descendants of Gershom and Eleazar, fulfilled crucial supportive roles that ensured the worship and functions of the sanctuary continued smoothly. The Levitical role of Gershom and Eleazar's descendants. Numbers 3:5-9 provides a clear distinction between the duties of Aaron's descendants and the rest of the Levites. The Lord said to Moses, "Bring the tribe of Levi and present them to Aaron the priest to assist him. They are to perform duties for him and for the whole community at the tent of meeting by doing the work of the tabernacle. They are to take care of all the furnishings of the tent of meeting, fulfilling the obligations of the Israelites by doing the work of the tabernacle." This passage emphasizes that while Aaron's descendants served as priests, the rest of the Levites were tasked with supporting duties, such as maintaining the sanctuary, guarding the temple, and assisting the priests. Gershom and Eleazar's descendants, while less visible than Aaron's line, were integral to the community's worship practices. Gershom's line, leadership through Shubael. Gershom's lineage is specifically mentioned in 1 Chronicles 23 verse 16, where Shubael, also spelled Shebuel, is named as the first of Gershom's descendants. Shubael is later noted in 1 Chronicles 24 verse 20 as a leader among the Levites. As for the rest of the descendants of Levi, from the sons of Amram, Shubael, from the sons of Shubael, Jediah. Though not a priest, Shubael's leadership role among the Levites demonstrates that Gershom's descendants faithfully contributed to Israel's worship structure. They may not have held the highest spiritual offices, but their efforts were vital to the community's religious life and organization. Eleazar's line, flourishing through Rehabiah. Eleazar's descendants are described as numerous, particularly through his son Rehabiah. 1 Chronicles 23 verse 17 highlights this. Eleazar had no other sons, but the sons of Rehabiah were very numerous. The emphasis on their numbers suggests that Eleazar's lineage flourished, with a strong and notable presence within the tribe of Levi. Their growth reflects a blessing of fruitfulness, aligning with God's promise in Genesis 22 verse 17. I will surely bless you and make your descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky and as the sand on the seashore. Although they did not achieve priestly prominence, Rehabiah's descendants likely served in supportive and administrative capacities within the Levite structure. Their substantial numbers contributed to the stability and continuity of Israel's worship practices. The deliberate distinction between Aaron and Moses' lines. The distinction between the roles of Aaron's and Moses' descendants is deliberate and significant. Aaron's line was explicitly chosen for the priesthood, a position of spiritual leadership, visibility, and privilege. This role came with great responsibility, as outlined in 1 Chronicles 24 verses 1-2. These were the divisions of the descendants of Aaron. The sons of Aaron were Nadab, Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. But Nadab and Abihu died before their father did, and they had no sons, so Eleazar and Ithamar served as the priests. In contrast, Moses' descendants were integrated into the broader Levitical service. Their roles were not associated with the high-profile priestly functions but instead focused on supporting the worship system. This clear delineation reinforces the biblical principle that God's callings are distinct and not tied to human expectations of inheritance or prominence. Gersam and Eleazar's enduring legacy. Though Gersam and Eleazar were not prominent figures during their time, their descendants continued to play vital roles in maintaining Israel's worship practices. Their story reminds us that every role in God's plan is important, even if it goes unnoticed or lacks recognition. The contributions of Gersam and Eleazar's lineage demonstrate faithfulness in service, supporting the broader mission of Israel's spiritual life. Their legacy challenges us to reflect on the value of serving behind the scenes and trusting God's unique purpose for each of us. In the next part, we'll explore the lasting lessons we can learn from their lives and how their hidden roles reveal profound truths about God's design for His people. Gersam and Eleazar's lives, along with the legacy of their descendants, hold profound lessons for us even today. Their story reminds us that God's purposes often transcend human recognition and expectations. Let's explore some key lessons from their lives. 1. Not everyone is called to the spotlight. The story of Gersam and Eleazar illustrates that God's plan for each person is unique. While they did not achieve the fame or recognition that Moses did, their roles were still integral to His purpose. Ecclesiastes 3 verse 1 reminds us, "There is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens." This verse highlights that God's timing is perfect, even if it doesn't align with our personal desires or expectations. Gersam and Eleazar played their roles in the times and ways God appointed, demonstrating that a life of quiet service holds as much value as one in the spotlight. 2. God works through all roles. Romans 8 verse 28 assures us, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose." Gersam and Eleazar's lives were woven into the larger tapestry of God's plan. Though their contributions were not prominently displayed in Scripture, they were vital to the continuation of Israel's worship and spiritual life. Similarly, our contributions, even when unnoticed by others, are valuable in God's greater plan. 3. The lasting impact of faithfulness. The descendants of Gersam and Eleazar continued to serve faithfully within the Levitical tribe, underscoring the generational impact of obedience to God. Psalm 112 verses 1-2 beautifully captures this principle. "Blessed are those who fear the Lord, who find great delight in His commands." Their children will be mighty in the land, the generation of the upright will be blessed. Their lives remind us that our faithfulness today can influence and bless future generations, even if we never see the fruits of our labor within our lifetime. 4. God values every act of service. In Hebrews 6 verse 10, we are assured, God is not unjust, He will not forget your work and the love you have shown Him as you have helped His people and continue to help them. Though Gersam and Eleazar's descendants did not hold prominent positions, their work and dedication were seen and valued by God. Their story encourages us to trust that our quiet acts of service are noticed and appreciated by the one who matters most. 5. True importance lies in obedience, not status. Moses' life was marked by obedience to God, even through immense challenges and moments of doubt. Similarly, his sons served humbly and faithfully, emphasizing the importance of submission to God's will over seeking human recognition. Philippians 2 verses 3-4 reminds us, do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility value others above yourselves, not looking to your own interests but each of you to the interests of the others. Gersam and Eleazar's story serves as a testament to the value of humility and service. Their lives were not driven by selfish ambition or the pursuit of fame. Instead, they faithfully fulfilled their roles, showing us the beauty of quiet, consistent obedience. 6. God sees beyond appearances. 1 Samuel 16 verse 7 provides a powerful reminder of God's perspective. The Lord does not look at the things people look at. People look at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. This truth is evident in Gersam and Eleazar's lives. While their contributions may seem minor in the biblical narrative, their faithfulness and dedication mattered greatly to God. Their legacy challenges us to focus on aligning our hearts with His will, trusting that He sees and values our efforts. A timeless lesson. The story of Gersam and Eleazar calls us to embrace the roles God has given us, no matter how small or unnoticed they may seem. Their faithfulness reminds us that humility, obedience, and quiet service are deeply cherished by God. Whether in the spotlight or behind the scenes, our lives can contribute to His grand design, leaving an enduring impact on those who follow. Finding value beyond visibility. As we conclude the story of Gersam and Eleazar, their lives remind us of a profound truth: God looks beyond outward appearances and values our hearts. As 1 Samuel 16 verse 7 tells us, people look at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. Though Gersam and Eleazar were not celebrated figures in biblical history, they were part of God's chosen people and contributed to His divine plan. Their story challenges us to focus not on fame or recognition but on faithfulness to the roles God has entrusted to us. Finding purpose in obscurity. Many of us struggle with feelings of being unnoticed or unimportant, especially in a world that often equates visibility with value. Gersam and Eleazar's lives show us that significance is not measured by public acclaim but by obedience and devotion to God. Every act of service, no matter how small, carries weight in His eyes. Just as Moses' sons served without widespread recognition, we, too, are called to trust in God's greater plan. When we embrace the roles He assigns us, we find fulfillment and peace, even when our contributions seem modest or unseen by others. Obedience over ambition. In a culture that glorifies status and visibility, the example of Gersam and Eleazar reminds us to prioritize obedience to God's will above personal ambition. True fulfillment comes not from pursuing our own agendas but from aligning our lives with His purpose. A subtle yet powerful legacy. So, what happened to Moses' sons, and does their story matter? While their narrative is subtle and their names rarely mentioned, Gersam and Eleazar's legacy speaks volumes about God's faithfulness and his unique design for each of his people. Their absence from the spotlight does not diminish their significance. Instead, it highlights the beauty of quiet service and the importance of every role in God's greater story. Closing encouragement. Their story inspires us to embrace our unique place in God's plan, knowing that even the smallest acts of faithfulness contribute to his grand design. As we reflect on Gersam and Eleazar, let us find comfort in knowing that God sees and values us, even when the world does not. Thank you for watching and joining us on this journey through the Bible. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share it with others. Let's continue to uncover the hidden gems of Scripture together. God bless you, and see you next time.